وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ.
Okay, so next verse, verse number 4. إِن تَتُوبَا إِلَى اللَّهِ فَقَدْ صَغَتْ قُلُوبُكُمَا. If the two of you would only turn to Allah, فَقَدْ صَغَتْ قُلُوبُكُمَا. The word صَغَت means mala, to incline or lean towards. There's two tafsirs here, very different tafsirs. The tafsir number one is Allah addressing two of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. Who do you think they are? Hafsa and Aisha radhiyallahu anha. If you would only make tawbah to Allah, turn back to Allah in tawbah, because what you've done is wrong, you need to right that wrong with tawbah, then faqad, for sure, sagat qulubukuma, then your hearts would sagat. Or the first interpretation is, this is Allah saying you need to make tawbah, because if you don't, or rather your hearts at the moment as it stands, sagat, are inclined towards being away from the haqq. Yeah? How exactly? Well, because you like something that the person doesn't like. Rather, the other way around, sorry. You dislike something that the person likes. He likes the honey and you dislike the honey. He likes to be with that lady, yeah, which is the mother of his child, and you don't like it. Okay, so you're away from the haqq in this moment in time on this particular issue. Not, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, you're misguided people. No. On this particular issue, on this particular matter, your hearts have inclined away from the haqq. Other interpretation is the opposite interpretation, which is that make tawbah to Allah, because Allah already see that in your hearts you kind of already feel guilty and you want to make tawbah. There's a different interpretation. The Shawkani rahimahullah mentioned both, but it seems as though what is mentioned in the classical tafasir like At-Tabari and Ibn Kathir, the first interpretation is the more accurate interpretation. And some people may think, oh, this is a very critical tafsir of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and how can we say that about the wives? But the reality is you need to understand it, Allah speaking in the context of this particular issue. One matter. On this one matter, your hearts have stayed away from the haqq. Yeah? Now, the question, I'm going to ask you girls now. Allah said, in tatuba, if both of you were to make tawbah. Now, who was told by the Prophet ﷺ, this is the secret, don't tell anyone? Who was it? Huh? Hafsa radhiyallahu anha. That's not the question, by the way, but it's just preparing you for the question. So, one wife was told, don't tell anybody else. But Allah said, if both of you make tawbah, you need to, because your hearts have, on this occasion, stayed away from the truth. So what did Aisha radhiyallahu anha do wrong? She's kind of innocent, no? Who's going to try and get the answer? Go on, you go. What do you think? Sumayya, isn't it? Yeah, go on. What do you think? Why is Aisha radhiyallahu anha also being told you need to make tawbah as well? Because she listened to her. What should she have done? Okay, and if you were there, like, what kind of things would she have said? She's telling her, oh, do you know what happened? What should she have done instead? Oh, very good, mashallah, very good. This one is okay for you. So both of them are told to make tawbah because both of them have done something wrong. As for Hafsa radhiyallahu anha, she disclosed the secret. But as for the one she disclosed it to, is it really right for someone to say, someone comes to you and says, oh, do you know what's going on in that house? Let me tell you. And you're like, hang on a minute, let's get my coffee. Yeah. Go on, tell me. Of course, it's not. Yeah, and subhanAllah, this is a very high level of morality and ethics that we are being told, or being taught rather, which is If someone tells you something that is not really right, you can't just, okay, no. Even that's wrong. You're supposed to say, hang on a minute, that's a secret, you can't be telling me that. That's wrong. Oh, that's the level which Allah wants us to rise to. You know, and just imagine, put that in context with all the rubbish that we hear, watch on TV. I mean, Allah forgive us. So much rubbish that we hear, even like in comedy. You know, comedians, many of them are atheists. They make cracks and jokes about God, about prophets. Isn't it? You're sitting there, you're watching it. Guy is goofing around, funny. Then he makes a joke about a prophet, about God. You're just listening. Just listening. Make him start laughing. Subhanallah. Allah knows that reaction. That reaction is blameworthy. Blameworthy. That is the level we're getting to now. Yeah? Not the level that, oh, you need to say the truth. No, if you hear evil, being silent is complicity in that evil on some level. Do you see? So you're not allowed to. And subhanAllah, the hadith of ifk comes to mind as well, where Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, her honor was, attacked by the munafiqun. They conspired to make a rumor that, wal-iyadu billah, she made zina with somebody else. However, Allah reprimanded the Muslim community in general. Why? Because some of them listened to that rumor. That was their only crime. Just listen to it. Instead, they should have said, how dare you say that about her? She is a righteous, virtuous woman. Can't be speaking about her like that. That should have been the reaction. Yep, okay. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes further by saying, إِن تَظَاهَرَ عَلَيْهِ. Now, if you don't make tawbah and instead do the opposite of making tawbah, which is tadhahara. Tadhahara means to come to each other's aid and support to plan. Yeah, alayhi, plan against him, meaning the Prophet. If you're basically going to get together and gang up on him or try to, make his life difficult, then let me tell you, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ مَوْلَاهُ. Then Allah is his protective friend. And if that wasn't enough, وَجِبْرِيل. And Jibreel as well, meaning he is also his protective friend. And وَصَالِحُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, as well as all righteous believers. And if that wasn't enough, وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ. And all the angels out there, they are also his protective friends. بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ ظَهِيرٌ, meaning that they will all come to his support. Yeah, it's very harsh. Yeah, it's very harsh, and it points towards the status of the Prophet ﷺ. And it also points towards a very subtle point, which Ibn Ashur makes, which is, women, you love the Prophet ﷺ, and you're very jealous over your husband, and that's fine. But there's a limit to that. Now, in this particular case, you've gone over the limit of your jealousy, and you've actually ended up making the Prophet ﷺ make something haram, which I made halal. Now, who's got more jealousy over this man? Me, Allah, or you? Allah has more ghayra over his Nabi than anybody else. Subhanallah. The way he came across the analysis, ajib. Yeah? And that helped us to understand why Allah is being so critical in this particular situation. Yeah? Because Allah is expressing his love for the Prophet ﷺ. And I love him this much. Unbelievable. If you think about it, it's unimaginable how much Allah loves this man, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ ظَهِيرٌ. Okay. Now, if you thought the criticism was harsh enough, it gets even more harsh. Yeah? But in the criticism, there's a lot of benefit. عَسَى رَبُّهُ. And perhaps رَبُّهُ, his master, his Rabb. إِن طَلَّقَ كُنَّ أَن يُبْدِلَهُ. If he did, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, end up divorcing kunna, all of you. Now, this is not just two of you, it's all of you. Yeah? If, Allah saying if, perhaps. Then you know what Allah would do? يُبْدِلَهُ أَزْوَاجًا. He'd replace you all with better wives. And not just better wives, full stop. Better, and then Allah tells us how many? 6 qualities that they would be better in you in, and then 2 descriptions. Now let's listen to those qualities, because Allah is actually talking about what ideal women and wives should be like in this verse. خَيْرًا مِنْكُنَّ, number 1, Muslimat. And then number 2, Mu'minat. Difference between Islam and Iman. Anyone know the difference between Islam and Iman? Some studying Imam Nawawi's 40 hadith should know the answer to this question.
Islam is abiding by the 5 pillars of Islam. It's like rituals, and Iman is to do with the articles of faith.
It is technically right, but it's not to answer the question. Difference between Islam and Iman, anyone know? Second bite of the cherry is not allowed. No one knows. SubhanAllah, Ajib. Yes?
Is Islam about the actions by the limbs, and Iman is more belief in the heart and
Ahsanti, mashallah, tabarakallah, that's for you. As the sister said, Islam is to do with the outward nature of a person, outward behavior and conduct. As for Iman, then that is to do with the inward beliefs. As the Prophet ﷺ was asked, what is Islam? He said it is what is it? The 5 pillars. Yeah? To testify, which is an action of the tongue, and then to pray, and to fast, and to hajj and zakat. All of these are outward actions. Then he was asked, what is Iman? Then he said to believe in Allah and the Prophets and the Malaika and the books. And this is all to do with inside. So they would be better in both these ways. Outwardly, the Islam would be better, and inwardly, the Islam would be better. And then qanitat, from qunut, yeah, and qunu lillahi qanitin. Yes, that's the verse where this word means devotion, and not just being devoted to something or someone, having consistency in the devotion. Yeah. وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ. So Allah wants us to stand before Him consistently showing devotion. So in this context, however, it means that they are very devoted. Now to who? To their husbands, to Allah, to both? What do you think? To both, isn't it? In the context, it makes sense that it's to do with both, to Allah and well as their husbands. They stand by their husbands. قُونُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتَاتٍ. Then number 4, ta'ibat from tawbah. So they are people. See, subhanAllah, look at sometimes I think that, Allah Jalla, He knows what we are thinking when we read the words, and then He says, actually, not like that. Because you're thinking, wow, they're better than the wives of the Prophet. Their outward Islam is better than this. Inward Islam is better than this. They're so devoted. They're perfect, man. We can't be like them. No, they're ta'ibat as well. They make mistakes. They're not perfect. But when they make mistakes, they make tawbah. Yeah? So don't think that they're perfect. Don't say, I can't be like them. They're perfect. No, ta'ibat. Abidat. Yeah? The abid is someone who is very much enslaved towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they show greater enslavement to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That might be another tafsir which I'm missing. Aywa. Abidat, Sa'di rahimahullah said, means humbleness. So they humble themselves before Allah in worship. They are khayr in that, meaning they are better than that. And then sa'ihat. Sa'ihat come from siyaha. Siyaha refers to traveling. Yeah? And the traveler, he is called the sayyaha. The sayyaha. The traveler, sayyaha, is somebody who has like little provisions, like a backpacker. He's going on a world tour and all he's got is his backpack on him. So what does that mean here then? It means that they're women that they can get by with little. Women, they can get by with little. Like traveler gets by with little. They too, if their husbands are rich, khalas, their husbands are rich, they take care of them. Husbands were rich and become poor, well, they can be like the traveler. They can bring themselves down and say, look, my husband, he can't afford. Let me not pressure him to do haram things, to get that money. Let me just relax and try and discipline myself. Or my husband is originally poor. Yeah, okay, no problem. As long as other boxes are ticked, I can bring myself to live on a low, level, on a low level. This is another amazing quality they have. Now, those are the qualities. Now two descriptions come. Thayyibat wa abkara. Now either those wives that may replace you, either would be thayyib, which means that they were previously married, they were widowed or they're divorced, but now they're no longer virgins, or they are abkara, which means that they are bikr, they are virgins. Now, interestingly, were the wives of the Prophet ﷺ divorced? No, they weren't. So what does that mean if they weren't divorced? If they weren't divorced, it means that there's no reason to replace them. And it means that there are no women out there that are better than them like this. Do you see? And you know what makes it even more interesting? Is that there's two wives in question, right? Hafsa and Aisha. Hafsa previously married. Aisha was a virgin. Thayyibat, Hafsa. And Abkara, like Aisha. Meaning, you've done something wrong, and I'm criticizing you. Sort yourself out, don't do this again. And you are the best of the women as well. Yeah, and you are the best of the women. Yeah. So you have to look at it from both perspectives. Asa, perhaps. I might do this, or this might happen. Yeah, but did it happen? No, it didn't happen. Which means that there was no real reason to make it happen. Why? Because they are like this. This is how they are. They are all of these boxes ticked. Tayyib. Okay. So some lessons we learn is about top qualities of believing women. That this is some of the intrinsic qualities that make women as noble in the eyes of Allah. And also there is, implied honoring of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. Tayyib. Okay. This is the last verse that we'll take now. And after explaining this verse, inshallah, what we'll do is, because this verse leads on to a lesson which is how to give good upbringing to our children, tarbiyah. We're going to take a short presentation on what is tarbiyah, what does it mean, the concept, the guidelines, the whole thing basically, in a very summarized way. So this verse now begins, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Quite extraordinary in light of what was said before. Before you're thinking, this is about the Prophet, his wives, and do you know what they did, and look how Allah addressed them. And Allah now says, believers, save yourself and your families from the fire. It's as if Allah is saying, you're reading that and thinking, it's about them back then. I'm telling you because it's about you. And this happens in your lives. And this is guidance that you need. That is why believers, save yourselves and your families from the fire. Yeah, this is the munasabah between this verse and the previous ones, which is the address is about the Prophet ﷺ to the Prophet ﷺ, but the lesson in that address is actually for the benefit of all of you. And that what follows on now is our more explicit address. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Believers. Qu from wiqaya. And from wiqaya we get the word taqwa. And taqwa essentially means to shield and to protect. So the verb being used in the order form. Qu, save, who? Number one, yourselves. And number two, your families. Now Allah gives us 5 reasons to save your family from the fire. 5 reasons. Number one, first of all, he said, it is a nara. Naran, in the nakira form. When you say something in the nakira, in a sentence like this, it's kind of like there's an exclamation mark coming at the end. Believers, save yourselves and your families from the fire. Like that. It's like exclamation. It has ta'zeem in it. And then Allah describes that fire. Let me tell you about the fire. The waqood, the fuel, the things that makes it burn is an-nas and hijara. Human beings and stone. You ever seen a fire like that before? Which came first, stone or human beings? In Arabic, if there's a list of something, what comes first is more greater in number. People will be the predominant fuel of that fire. Nas'alullah salamata wal afiyah. And then will be hijar, from the plural of hajar. Hajar means stone. Some said this refers to the idols that people used to worship. And if that wasn't bad enough, a horrific image to think that they are corpses burning and fueling that fire, Allah goes further. Alayha malaika. And on top of it are malaika, meaning the gatekeepers and the people driving the people into hellfire and punishing them are angels. And not just any type of angels. They are ghilaz and shidad. Ghilaz means coarse, brutal. Shidad means severe. Ash-Shawkani rahimahullah said the difference is as follows. Ghilaz is in the way they look. They look brutal. They look like somebody who can inflict a lot of pain on you. That's how they look. Shidad is the actual torturing that they do. Actual torturing they do is shidad. It is so severe. So not only are you already psychologically being tortured by just seeing them, alayha, upon you, but when they do torture, subhanallah, it is shidad, it is brutal. And more details. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They don't disobey Allah in what أمرهم. He has ordered them. The angels not doing that on their own accord. They're doing it because Allah ordered them. Another interpretation of ghilaz is that the hearts of the angels, they are rough, insensitive. And Shawkani said because Allah created their hearts out of His anger. Subhanallah. That they don't have in their hearts, like, say there's a soldier in the army and the commander calls him and says, I want you to snipe at that child. The guy, he's got a heart. He says, I can't do this. This is wrong. No, their hearts are already ghilaz. They don't have any sympathy in them whatsoever. They were created out of the anger of Allah. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. That is why they don't disobey Allah when He orders them. They don't feel any remorse. They don't feel any love. Have no sympathy whatsoever. ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. And they do whatever they are told to do. The difference between fi'l and amal. Yeah? Ibn Asakir, in his famous dictionary, in explaining the differences behind synonyms, very interesting science. What's the difference between this word and this word? They both mean the same thing. He said the difference between amal and fi'l is that fi'l, the amal, has an intention behind it. Yeah? When you intend to do something, it takes time, right? I intend, I plan, then I act. As opposed to a fi'l, he said it's like involuntary, requires no intention. Allah is saying to us, He tells them, bang, they do it just like that. No thinking involved whatsoever. يَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. As soon as they're told, they go ahead and do it. Don't even blink. Don't bat an eyelid. They just go ahead and carry out that punishment. Yeah? Unbelievable. The imagery, unbelievable, the harshness. But in all of that harshness is the mercy of Allah. Because He's telling us, you know how bad that is? You want to save yourself and your family. Believe me, you do. And I will order you to. Yeah, I will order you to. And I will help motivate you by describing that scene to you. If Allah was not merciful to us, He wouldn't tell us anything. When you wake up and you see it, khalas, what can you do now? I'm there. Only if someone told me, oh yes, now Allah is telling you now. Yeah, Allah is telling you now. Now, what is interesting here is what some of the Salaf said regarding how they understood قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِكُمْ. How do you save yourself exactly from your fire and the family? Ali radiallahu ta'ala said, عَلِّمُوهُمْ وَأَدِّبُوهُمْ, which means educate them and nurture their character. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma said, to act in devotion to Allah and abstain from disobeying Him, continually encourage them to make dhikr of Allah, and so Allah will thereby save them from the hellfire. Qatada said, help and facilitate for them obedience to Allah. If you see them disobey Allah, you should tell them off for doing that. So now, my brothers and sisters, okay, we come to this lesson, which was mentioned by Abu Bakr al-Jazairi, Hafidhahullah, in his tafsir, that in this verse there is an obligation being given to give good tarbiyah to your wife and your children. Okay, good tarbiyah. Now, who's heard the word tarbiyah before? Most of you heard this word, right? What does it mean, tarbiyah, to give tarbiyah to your children? Discipline them, okay. Anything else? Instill fear of Allah in them. Anything different? To educate, okay. Upbringing? You said nurture? Okay, see this word tarbiyah, not tarbiyah, tarbiyah. It comes from the root of rabawa. From this root rabawa, we get the word riba. You know riba? Riba lexically means, anyone know? No, lexically. Linguistically, riba means increase. It means increase. Yeah, increase. So this is the meaning of the word riba, because the root of it, rabawa, means to increase or to make grow. So tarbiyah is the methodology to make someone grow. Yeah, then that's just a linguistic take on it. This is the definition given by my sheikh, okay, on what is tarbiyah. He said, the nurturing of a person in gradation, in all dimensions, to become a forerunner, siddiq, in the hereafter, and by consequence this world, according to Islamic methodology. There's a lot there to digest, I know. But this is there on the thing? I'll read it again. Nurturing of a person in gradation, in all dimensions, to become a forerunner, siddiq, in the hereafter, and by consequence this world, according to Islamic methodology. Now I'm going to explain it, don't worry. I'll explain it, inshallah, no problem. You can ask your sister, because mashallah, she reads, so she knows. Okay, first of all, is this a new concept? Some, people coming later on have decided, oh, there's something called tarbiyah, let's make some money out of it, and start telling people we run courses on tarbiyah, so pay us, we'll teach you. No. This is a concept that goes back to the Prophet ﷺ and even all the prophets. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Al-Jum'ah, that it is He who sent among the unlettered Arabs a messenger from themselves, reciting to them His verses, purifying them and teaching them the book and the wisdom, meaning the Sunnah, although they were before in clear error. So this is the role of the Prophet ﷺ. And part of that role is وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ, to purify them. Yeah, to purify them, which kind of gives us an insight into He's going to change the way not just they behave, but the way they think, isn't it? Because purification is to do with the inside, right? It's not to scrub them up and to make them look good looking. Yeah. Well, Yuzaki means to purify them, right? Which means to purify their thinking and their heart, and on top of that, educating them about the Quran. So there's actually many dimensions to this. There's many dimensions to this, okay? But anyhow, it's in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ instructed his companions and nurtured them in the finest way possible. After the demise of the Prophet ﷺ, the companions upheld the pivotal and critical task of guiding, nurturing and instructing the generation of the tabi'een. Meaning, the Prophet ﷺ taught it, people learnt it, and then they passed it on. And that can be seen in the scholarly works on tarbiyah that go back to, for example, we have one by called Adab al-Muallimin by Ibn Sahnun in earliest 256 Hijri, and then you have a whole list there. That's just to give you a flavor that this is not a new concept. Okay, it is a concept that has been worked on a scholarly level from way back. So looking at the word itself to get a better understanding of what is tarbiyah, it can mean the following: al-islah, to rectify; al-nima' wa-ziyada, to grow and increase. I kind of mentioned that already. Al-nash'ah, which means to rise, develop and flourish; and siyasa, to lead, guide and manage; and ta'aleem, to instruct. It can mean all these things linguistically. Now going back to the definition, the nurturing of a person in gradation. Let's explain this then. Nurturing means one of the many terms connotating tarbiyah. So it means tarbiyah lexically means to make grow and to develop and stuff. So the tarbiyah is a development of a person. It's a development. Now you need to look at that as being different to teaching. So if I ask you, for example, just up until now, what you've learned about tarbiyah, how does teaching differ to tarbiyah? What would you say, this is clearly not teaching now, this is actually being a murabbi, giving tarbiyah to someone. Any differences come to mind? Teaching is like this, tarbiyah is more like this, just based on the lexical definition.
Is it that with basic teaching, you're more putting the input, whereas with tarbiyah, it would be you're allowing them space to grow for themselves as well.
Okay, interesting. Anybody else? Any more sisters? Yep. Okay, very interesting. The sister said that you're kind of taking into consideration the emotional state of the person as well as the knowledge. Anything else? Yes. Right. Okay, but you kind of could teach values, no? You could teach like the value of so-called freedom of speech. You could go to a course and learn about that, isn't it? You could be taught what is freedom of speech. So, what do you think? You don't have to agree. You can say, no. I stand by what I say. And I say, khalas, ma'a salama. Anything else? Any different? Yeah, Nahin?
Could it be to do with experiences as well?
Experience, what do you mean?
So teaching is just giving them what you want to teach them.
Yep.
With nurturing, you have another dimension of experience being involved. So maybe in the way that you give the information.
Give me an example. You said in tarbiyah there's more experience being used or given, or?
Yeah, used and given. So the person
like what?
themselves, if they want to pass some nurturing information, you could say, to a child,
Yeah.
they have an emotional and experience-based method of delivering that to the child.
Okay, I follow you. I follow you.
Teaching something which is two-dimensional, i.e. subject content, and just
Right, okay.
across.
So just extending on that then. So you want to teach your child, for example, the value of being truthful. Like it's good to be a truthful person. That's the kind of person you should be. And you can teach that to your child, right? I mean, you could tell them a story, for example. Or you could just tell them outright, don't lie, be an honest person. Let me tell you something that happened to me a long time ago and I lied. But you're saying that's teaching, but that same thing you want to teach them, if you did it with tarbiyah or as a murabbi, how would it be different?
The experience that you've got would help you to deliver it to the child that you're trying to deliver it to. So, for that child, that if I was to just teach them
Yep.
and just tell them, this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah.
So that could be the case, but they might not want to take it that way. Because the nurturing part would be, well, you know how to tell them with the emotion attached, with the example attached. So you could say, my example is this, that, and the other. The child might not want to take it. But
Okay.
you might give an experience of the child to the child. You say, you said this about your sister, for example.
Uh-huh.
How did you feel about that? And now
Okay.
you give the experience. From the first
Jazakumullah khair.
Nurturing in the way that you're talking about it here as opposed to teaching.
Yeah.
Teaching, you're maybe delivering facts, also looking after them and making a development.
Yeah.
Nurturing in this way
Yeah.
is more it involves example.
Right.
As a parent or
Uh-huh.
parents or as a murabbi to your students in an Islamic sense,
Yeah.
if they see your behavior in this situation, you could have done this, but you did this.
Right.
And from that, on top of whatever you taught them as theory,
Yeah.
seeing a practical example.
Okay. So the brother said teaching is more like delivering information, right? But murabbi is not just dumping information on the child or his friend or whoever. He's actually going to try and nurture it into them. Yeah, there's a difference there. Like, I can tell you about being honest, or I can try and make you honest. Isn't it? There's teaching, and this is tarbiyah. Yeah, that's one clear difference, that teaching is about imparting information, whereas tarbiyah is about trying to instill and that information in the person. Yeah, instill that information. Any other differences?
What's the difference between tarbiyah and tarbiyah?
No, tarbiyah is not actually a word from what I know. Yeah. The word is tarbiyah. Yep, anything else? Leading by example, okay. Very good. So the sister said that, leading by example, very similar to what you said, and I think it's a very good point. But I'm going to give an example. So you're saying essentially that, you tell your children, be honest, and then when you're upstairs, browsing the internet, and your wife's saying, can you come downstairs now, please? Dinner's ready. And your little one's in the room as well. You say, oh, I'm just getting changed. Daughter's going to be like, what? You just told me to be honest now. I can just clearly see you're lying. What's going on? Oh, he was teaching her that you're not supposed to lie. But he wasn't giving a tarbiyah not to lie. Interesting. Now, if you read that into the verse becomes more richer. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Save yourselves and your families from the fire, meaning if you think you're going to save your family without saving yourself, it's not going to work. Isn't it? Yani, you are not the embodiment of those values that you're trying to teach your kids. Even if you try and teach it to them, it's not going to work because they see the opposite in you. No, try and be a murabbi. Be those values and then instill it into your children. Yeah? Okay, that's good, that's good. Let's move on to the finished definition. We've got 5 minutes left, inshallah. So nurturing, one of the many terms connotating tarbiyah. Second part, then moving on to the definition. Nurturing of a person. So the focus of tarbiyah is comprehensive to both Muslim and non-Muslim. You can give tarbiyah to anyone, to anyone. And the other thing is a person, it gives us the understanding that the difference between teaching again and tarbiyah is that, you've got all these students, mashallah, tabarakallah, and you can teach them all something. But tarbiyah is actually a more homed in activity, or you've got one person, and then you're trying to develop that person. And think about that in terms of the da'wah of the prophets. They did da'wah, if you like, person to person, on the streets, in the marketplaces. They were interacting on a human level with the people they're doing da'wah to, as opposed to like in our times over the internet. It has this impact, but it's not the same as the da'wah of the prophets, which is direct. So when it's direct, there's an element of tarbiyah in there. There's an element of tarbiyah there. So the focus, however, is on the person, as opposed to trying to educate people. Educate people is one thing, it's good, but tarbiyah is more focused in on the person, trying to develop that person. Now the next word, gradation. Is this the word that you're asking? What does it mean? Oh, she's going to sleep now. You're asking about gradation? No? What were you asking about? Okay, I thought you were asking about something. The word gradation basically means it has a due process. And subhanAllah, this is the way people will actually change in life. That you might hear one thing and it hits you and then overnight you change. But usually people don't change like that. People change through a gradual process. A positive influence is coming on them over a set period of time, and then human beings change. Even if you think, subhanAllah, about how Allah created the heavens and the earth. Fi sittati ayyam. In 6 days. Why Allah? How comes, why 6 days could have done just like that? True or not? And one of the hikam that the scholars mentioned behind Allah creating things fi sittati ayyam is to show everything happens in due process. Everything happens in due process. So things happen gradually, slowly. Tarbiyah takes time. Yeah, it's a process. All dimensions, this is the most important part of tarbiyah. Please listen to this. If you switched off, please switch yourself back on for this part. Yeah? All dimensions. Now, when you go to madrasa, some of the brothers were telling me the experience of madrasa when they're children. For many, it's not a good experience, yeah. But the brother said, I used to get abused and everything, and all I remember is the beatings. And I said, yeah. So later on, you say, oh, Surah Baqarah, this mark on my head over here. But the madrasa style teaching, which is happening now, I'm not talking about when back in the days. Now, even if it's one dimensional, it is focused on what? Just learn how to read Quran. Okay, say it properly. If it's a good madrasa, say it properly. Yeah. So this is, for a lot of people, this is the Islam for the children. You know, kids, do whatever you want, yeah, but make sure you go madrasa at 5, okay? As long as you can say that surah at the end of it and win a little prize, your Islam's taken care of. Yeah? No. Islam came to give us guidance in every sphere of our life. Which means that a person who has tarbiyah, who has been given good tarbiyah, he excels in every sphere of his life. Not just his relationship with Allah, but the relationship he has with others, like his family, like his children, like his work colleagues, like his neighbors. He excels not just in his knowledge, but his body itself is something you can tell he looks after his body. He excels in looking after his body. Many, many dimensions a person has in their life. Tarbiyah came to help you grow in every single dimension. Yeah? This is how teaching differs to tarbiyah. Teaching, I think what this is Shine saying, can be to do with one subject matter. Tarbiyah is not about one subject. Tarbiyah is about holistic development. Yeah, holistic development. So all dimensions, all spheres of a person's personality and being, and the aim, okay, I can't even read on here. Aim of attaining happiness in both abodes. This is what makes Islamic tarbiyah better and different to any other, tarbiyah type of philosophy out there, which is, why be a better person? Why? Why? Why be more, intelligent? Why be more, active? Why be more proactive? Why be, have better skills? Why? Just, for many, it's just for the happiness, for the perks, for a better job, a better career, or mainly it revolves on being happy, right? The pursuit of happiness. Islam says, you want to be the best, you want the best for yourself in the akhirah, you be the best in the dunya. Yeah? Be the best in the dunya in order to get the best in the akhirah. So the why factor is what makes it unique in one regard. Why? The motivation is to strive for the highest place in Jannah and to save yourself from the akhirah. And secondly, the difference is it has a divine source. What value should you be developing inside a person, how that person should start to think in their life, how they should behave, that is not what I think is right, you think is right, what philosophers said is right, what Allah and the Messenger said is what's right. That's the second way in which it is unique. It has a divine source. Yeah? And the first is that it is, you can say, akhirah centric. Yeah? It is revolving around striving for the life to come. And that's why at the end it says, according to Islamic methodology, to include all methodologies to do that do not derive. Can someone read that for me? Sorry, I can't. What is the ninth?
According to Islamic methodology, to exclude all methodologies that do not derive.
Do not, yeah.
Yeah, do not derive their validity from divine law.
Yes. Okay. So just to finish off with this last slide, we talk about multidimensional. We actually mean all dimensions development. So, for example, intellectual development. Number 2, creedal development, meaning aqidah-wise, a person is developed. Yeah, he knows what belief in Allah means properly. Devotional development, meaning how good a person worships Allah. What's the quality of his salah? Does he fast Monday and Thursday? What's his relationship like with the Quran? These are devotional acts. He excels in those. So this is another area of development. Another area is behavioral development. How does he behave in public? You know, sitting on the bus, like I said yesterday, okay, sitting on the front seat, you know where they got the sign, the pregnant lady, old lady, child, and he's sitting there and he sees an old lady get on the bus. The guy looks the other way. Oh, what's on my phone? Oh, I got a notification. And everyone's looking at him, like, come on, man, this is a pregnant lady, why don't you get up? Okay, maybe intellectually, mashallah, maybe he prays Qiyamul Layl, but on the bus, mushkila. Yeah, mushkila. So no, tarbiyah, looking at everything. Yeah, behavioral wise needs to be developed. Skills development, skills, leadership skills, teamwork skills. These are essential skills in da'wah, no? Person can't work with other people. It means you're not going to get far in da'wah, to be honest. You can't work with other people. Well, you're just a one-man show. Yeah, one-man show, how far are you going to get? Even if you manage to do something amazing in your life, which impacts the lives of many people, you're one person. You get put in prison, the whole show is over. True or not? Yeah. Person, no, I know how to work with others. Yeah, I know how to work with others. Skills. And then physical development. Person might be extremely intelligent, really devoted to Allah, knows how to work with others, but I got diabetes. I need to go to the toilet all the time. This injection has to be kept in the fridge. I can't go there, akhi. I got no cool bag with me. Mushkila. Everything else has been impacted negatively because you don't look after your health. So you became ill and everything else has been affected. Yeah, so tarbiyah, looking to develop all of the spheres in a person's life. That's how tarbiyah differs with teaching. Okay, so we have to finish here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk wa jazakumullahu khairan.